Hey traders, this is Will. As you guys can see, I'm looking at the US dollar currency index, the DXY. Let's go ahead and take a look what's going on right now. We can see here that price is currently testing major support right now. Now we see here multiple candles testing major support, trading both above and below this major support. And of course, if you look up in the previous times where price have tested major support, price is quickly rejected from the support. If you guys can see here, very quickly, indicating that the market remains pretty bullish on the dollar. But if you guys see here, market right now is pretty undecisive on the direction or the clear rejection of the US dollar at support. And that's, of course, because of two major event risks that's happening today. First one being Trump and Juncker EU trade talks, and the second one being the European Central Bank interest rate decision. Of course, those two things will have basically major impact on the US dollar index. The reason being that the EU USD pair accounts for at least, I believe, 60% of the US dollar currency index. So of course that's very important. And in fact, tomorrow we have an even bigger event risk where we are expected to have, of course, the US Q2 GDP report coming up tomorrow. As you guys know, the forecast is about 4.2%, but rumors are circulating that the actual number could be as high as 4.6%. And of course, if that's true, that's extremely bullish, will be extremely bullish for the US dollar. And that, adding by the fact that Trump has pretty much been, or at least in my opinion, been bragging about the numbers, pretty much, in my opinion, already confirms the fact that the Q2 data, which is going to be coming out tomorrow, will be a very strong data and will be very bullish for the US dollar. Going back to what's happening today, we have the European interest rate, which is coming out in 4 hours as the time of this video, and that again, based on the current tone of the European Central Bank, they seem to remain pretty dovish, which means they will probably leave the interest rate the same. And again, of course, that is bullish for the US dollar. And yeah, and keep in mind that although these events are coming out, and for now they at least should be bullish for the US dollar, we could see a massive amount of volatility happening soon. You have to keep in mind that there's trade wars, and then we have the EU potentially seeing the EU-US trade deal, as well as the GDP data coming out for the US economy. So a lot of these datas and all these numbers are going to be pretty much flooded in the market, and this generally creates volatility for could be from many hours to a few days as the market tries to react and make sense of all this data and what's just going on in pretty much in the world economy, and as well as the US economy, and how that basically impacts the US dollar. Anyways guys, let's take a look at the Euro USD. As I mentioned earlier, this pair accounts for about 60% of the US dollar index. And we can see here that price is in fact testing key resistance as well. And let's take a look a little bit closer. We can see here that price, you can see a strong key support here where price has tried to break through, but still you can see here buyers jumping back in, pushing price back up. So price is trading in this very narrow range right now, indicating that the market is, as I said earlier, waiting for the news to come out, as these events coming out are extremely we call very high risk events. Anyway guys, if you look at USJPY, we also see similar technical structure occurring as well. We see here price testing major support as well, similar to that of the US dollar index. But of course we see here for the JPY, we can see room for the dollar to fall even further to this key support. You can call this the final key support before, if prices manage to break through this, that will be considered extremely bearish for the US dollar. Now let's look at the final pair here, is the US dollar against the Swiss franc. Once again, we also see that price is testing major support. We can see here price had touched support multiple times, and of course I'm looking at the 4-hour chart here. So this is again indicating the market is literally waiting for more data to come out before we really see any changes in price direction and stuff like that. Um, as I said earlier, my long-term opinion on US dollar is that the fundamentals are strong, and based on what we're hearing, from Trump, the rumors, and even just the estimate of 4.2% for the US economy growth is extremely, extremely strong in my opinion. So, um, I think in the long run, the US dollar will remain pretty intact, and I think price should reject this major support. But again, guys, like I said earlier, a lot of data is going to be flooded to the market. A lot of things going to be happening, and of course, we could see a lot of volatility coming ahead. That could also be a good thing as well as a bad thing. A good thing meaning that for those of you guys who are short-term traders, volatility allows you to pretty much profit very quickly in one direction or the other. But in my opinion, when you are trying to profit from short-term volatility, that's pretty much low-key a gamble in my opinion. And as long as you stick to the fundamentals and as well as the technicals, at least psychological technical support resistance, that's really how you in fact generate profit in the long run. Anyway guys, if you guys do find this video useful, please give us a thumbs up, and of course subscribe for more analysis video as well as our trade ideas.